Good afternoon. It is a couple minutes past 4 o'clock. You are tuned to the 4 p.m. 411. I am Loyd Kirby, the marketing manager of WLCN, and we're going to be talking today with Seth Goodman, a man who wears many hats around Lincoln, but in this particular instance, he's going to talk to us about the Balloons Over 66 Festival. So, Seth, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, if anyone has questions or comments, 217-648-5510 is the number to call. If you want to shoot us an email rather than call us, 4 p.m. 411 at WLCNonline.com. And as I said, we can take your questions or comments. Got a whole slew of events and things happening during the upcoming weekend, August 26th, 27th, and 28th with the Shady Car Show. But let's take a step back for a minute and talk about how things got to this point, at least the past few years, because as most people in the area know, there was the big Art and Balloon Festival, then it was broken up, then it went away, and that's sort of where you stepped in.
Right. Yeah, so Lincoln Chamber of Commerce obviously had, orchestrated, I guess you'd say, the Lincoln Art and Balloon Festival, which was a crowd favorite in Logan County and beyond. When the chamber kind of collapsed, then we lost the Lincoln Art and Balloon Festival, and so it went without a year of really anything. And then we decided to bring back the balloon side, and that's been, I think this is fourth or fifth year. I'm actually honestly not sure, but so the first year it was just the balloons back, and then everything has kind of come back slowly since then. So I focus on the balloon side, and then we've had some others that have stepped in and stepped up to bring back the bands and bring back the dock dogs and bring back the barbecue and all that stuff. So we're trying to get it back to its prior glory, but still spinning it for today, if that makes sense. So.
Sure, absolutely. So how did that sort of evolution? I mean, you mentioned you stepped in with the balloons. Were people coming to you saying, "Hey, it'd be great if we had an art fair again," or "Hey, it'd be great if we had this again"? Or did you kind of have this grand vision that eventually maybe we would get it back to where it was?
Yeah, I think it was a very big event for one sole entity and or person to take over. So I think when to get to where we are today, we've had to have, like I said, a lot of people kind of step up that had a specialty or know-how in each area. So the balloons for me made sense just because I, throughout the summer months, will travel with these pilots, and they said, "Hey, we'd love to come back to Lincoln." So that, thankfully, was pretty easy to get the pilots to come back. But ever since we started 4 or 5 years ago, it's continuously grown in terms of volume of pilots. So this year is actually one of our largest year we've had so far. Like I said, others have stepped up and really came to the plate to bring back what everybody looks forward to.
Sure.
So
and 37 pilots
37,
this year?
yeah.
Okay.
We had 39. 2 have had some things happen and weren't able to come, but we've got pilots coming from all over the nation. So one from Albuquerque, New Mexico, which will actually be arriving next Wednesday. And
nice.
so you'll probably see balloons as early as next Tuesday or Wednesday, all the way through the weekend.
Okay.
So.
Let's talk about the festival not only as just something for Logan County people to do, but why is it important for Lincoln and for the area for this festival to exist?
Sure. Yeah, it's just super important for the whole area because it brings so many people to our area to not only support the economy, but also to show them what we have to offer in Lincoln and Logan County. We've had a lot of businesses and restaurants, all the like, that have stepped up to really help us with this. Some people have donated in previous years directly to the cases and cause. And but like I said, I think to answer your question, it's just really to showcase what we have here and to show that even though we are a small area, we can really put on quite an event that attracts people from all over the place. And really, when we titled it Balloons Over 66, it was kind of symbolic, obviously, with the 66. But it's amazing when we're flying to see how many people are coming off the interstate and actually sitting on 66 to watch the balloons go over. So it's really kind of cool how it's all kind of transpired and grown over the years.
Yeah,
So.
And I, in a previous life, did some publicity for a community college up in East Peoria and was on a committee that studied the economic impact of the arts on the Peoria region. And I believe the report we put together said that it was like over a $35 million impact because you have people coming in spending at the art fair or spending at the restaurants or spending to get gas. So it's obviously not just, as I mentioned, something for folks in Lincoln to do, but it can have ripple effects.
Yeah, and it's great because a lot of us are on the north side with the balloons, so they'll get off that exit, and the Oasis is on the other side of town. So people are coming off both exits and really funneling into town. So like I said, they're helping support or helping the restaurants and helping everyone in the economy. I mean, the art fair, I know that Marcia Cook and her group have really worked on trying to bring back more vendors for that. I know the Oasis this year, last I heard, I think they have 30 to 40 vendors out there.
Oh, wow.
So it's really growing, again, as the years go on, and we hope to continue to do that and bring more back to, Logan County and beyond.
Okay.
So.
Our guest is Seth Goodman with Balloons Over 66, 217-648-5510. You mentioned there are all sorts of things going on. I have the benefit of having paper in front of me, but I'm sure you can probably recite most of this in your sleep.
Right.
So there are 4 sites from which the balloons will launch, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so in previous years we've had 6 to 8, but we're trying to get more in one area so people can see them, rather than scattered. So actually Mayfair Park, which is a crowd favorite because it's obviously a residential neighborhood, the Dugan Center, which is not far from Mayfair Park, a nice big open area, the 8th Street lot where the hospital used to be back in the day, and why am I drawing a blank? Campus View, Kevin and Peggy Bateman's house at the very end. They've got a very big open area down there. All 4 of these have hosted our balloons in previous years, and these seem to be the most popular sites for them. So Mayfair Park will have the smallest amount of balloons because it is the smallest area with the trees and so forth, but the others will have 10 or more. So it'll really be neat. And, really wherever you are in town, you should be able to see the balloons once they launch anyway. And that was kind of the idea in terms of moving them away from one central spot. Because for people who are immobile or can't really get around well, they'll still be able to see them. So,
in previous year, I'm not well versed in balloon terminology, but I know in previous years there have been fly-ins and fly-outs and contests where pilots dropped a beanbag in a target. Is there anything like that, or do you have to kind of wait to decide that depending on the weather?
So when it was an event that the chamber had, there was a waiver which allowed them to have competition flight. So now that we've brought it back in kind of our own little entity, there's really no waiver. So what it is it's a fun flying weekend. So there is no competition. But what we like to do is we like to have the pilots kind of fly whoever they want, whether it be local people or crews or whatever, and just really enjoy their flight and not focus on the competition side, because I really want the balloons to get up and out and let people see them. So there won't be any targets or anything like that this year. We do enjoy that at a lot of events, but we've tried to keep this one kind of laid back, and like I said, we're trying to kind of stay away from the waiver and just keep it a fun weekend. So.
And you mentioned about pilots could fly whoever they wanted. I noticed in the information on the Chamber's website there will be no tethered balloon rides this year.
Right. So there'll be no tethered balloon rides, but there are balloon rides available for purchase. So if somebody wants an actual ride where they are not tethered and fly to wherever they may land, that is available. I know that we had a couple that were going to do it that are no longer able to come. So there are 2 that are on the tourism's website that are offering paid rides. I think they're actually both sold out. But if there's a high demand for it, we have a lot of pilots, like I said, that are coming that I think would be willing to, extend that offer as well. So if people are interested in a hot air balloon ride, there is definitely that opportunity.
Okay.
So.
Our guest once again, Seth Goodman with Balloons Over 66, 217-648-5510, the number to call. We mentioned there will be 4 different sites from which the balloons will launch. There will actually be 3 different launches plus the balloon glow.
Yes. So Friday night about 6:15 we will launch. Saturday morning at sunrise, and then Saturday evening again 6:15, and then the balloon glow will be Saturday night at dusk. And last year we had all the balloons glow at the Park District. However, it was kind of chaotic with traffic and so forth, so this year we're going to have the balloons glow at their respective launch sites. So if you've got a favorite balloon or a favorite group of balloons, we encourage you to go to that site, or if you want to make the round and kind of check them all out, feel free to do that as well. So definitely is whatever people prefer this year. So.
Okay. We are about 10 minutes after 4 o'clock, so once again, 217-648-5510, the number to call. If you'd like to talk with us about the Balloons Over 66 event, Seth Goodman is our guest. He will be here until 4:30. We're going to go ahead and take our first break, and we will be back right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411. I'm Loyd Kirby along with Seth Goodman, who is here with us sharing knowledge of the Balloons Over 66 event coming up August 26th, 27th, and 28th. So why don't we run down, we'll talk a little bit about some of the individual happenings on that weekend. Let's see. Actually, first thing is Thursday, where you have the ribbon cutting at the Lincoln Arts Institute scheduled.
Right. So I know Marcia and her group were going to have that to kind of invite the community into the Art Institute, kind of tell them about the art fair that they're going to be having and so forth. So that is definitely, that's the very first thing for the weekend. So, and actually that night, there will probably be balloons flying as well for a media flight. So might get a full show that night.
All right. Very good. And of course, the Arts Institute is expanding to add an art gallery up to the third floor, I believe. So they're going to open that and dedicate it that evening, as we mentioned, in honor of Moses Pinkerton. That dedication happens at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday. And then Friday we get into the festival in its full glory, I guess, starting with the ribbon cutting at 5:15ish, 5:30ish at the Comfort Inn, and then straight on to the flights.
Yes, yeah. So the ribbon cutting will be kind of we're going to have a pilot briefing right before, just kind of go over the weekend events and what we expect and what we're hoping for. Then we will do the ribbon cutting, and then we will go right into the flights and everything happening downtown, and it will be basically that will be when everything breaks loose. So, but anyone that wants to come to ribbon cutting, we would love to see them. And also anyone that wants to crew for hot air balloons that weekend, that is a time to come, because we would then put them with the pilot for the weekend, and they can help as little or as much as they want to. So.
Okay. And what is involved with that when someone is part of the crew?
Sure. So each pilot kind of has different specifications of what they're looking for, but if someone wants to crew, usually it's from the setup to the takedown and everything in between. So that involves being with the chase crew in the chase vehicle, helping, like I said, set up the balloon, whether that be, and I'm going to be speaking foreign, but like holding the mouth of the balloon open or setting the top and so forth. Each pilot will have different needs, obviously, but some of them are coming from far away with one or just themselves, so they don't have a lot of help in her crew. And for anyone that says, I don't know how to do it, that's okay. We'll teach you. So, but if you do come, wear closed-toed shoes, because you never know where you're going to end up. So,
yeah, on-the-job training provided. So.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
So we mentioned already the 4 different launch sites for the balloons. That balloon launch Friday evening, taking place around 6 or 6:15, launching from Mayfair Park, Dugan Center, the old hospital site, 315 8th Street, and then 455 Campus View Drive, as you mentioned, Kevin and Peggy Bateman's. And then also happening Friday evening, the art fair will make its debut for the year at 5 o'clock downtown.
Yes, and I know I said Marcia's really worked on expanding that. We had a meeting last week, kind of a joint meeting, and I know she said she had somewhere between, I want to say 15 and 25, which is pretty good for an art fair, to bring it back off its foot. But I know they're really trying to grow that, and she was hoping to get more entries prior to. So anyone that remembers the art fair in Latham Park, come down and support it, because obviously if it's well supported, they will continue to grow that for future years, and these vendors would love to come back. So.
And the art fair is actually at the Arts Institute?
It will be just right outside of in front of.
Okay. Yep. So in the sidewalk area there in front on McLean Street?
Yes, you have McLean Street. Pretty much anywhere downtown you'll see something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's see. Then the library having its Buck a Bag book sale as well. Open Arms will be having activities for kids. You mentioned Latham Park. That's happening at Latham Park from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that was just announced, I believe, this week.
Yeah, they just added that this year. So I said it just continues to grow, and we love that. So
and so it'll be the typical kids activities. Maybe bouncy houses and
I think all kinds of a mix of fun stuff. Okay. So just things that kids will enjoy while the parents may enjoy other things. So
all right, and then of course the Doc Dogs will be happening Friday as well.
Yes, and the Doc Dogs seems to be a crowd favorite.
Right.
So
and I know a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old who would really love to come see that. If we can convince their parents from St. Louis.
Right.
So,
sure.
But yeah, they've got all sort. That's actually happening. It looks like the on-site registration begins at noon, and then happens all throughout the day up until the Extreme Vertical at 7 p.m. So all sorts of different categories, and then about that time, I guess, is when the live music kicks in.
Yeah, live music. There'll be a barbecue event going on, all kinds of stuff, like I said. And then the Oasis will also have their vendor fair. And I think they've got between 30 and 40 vendors out there. They've got a big kite thing that's coming in to sell all kinds of fun stuff. So they've got food out there during the day. I know people are interested. And then a lot of downtown businesses will also be offering specials and things like that. So really, no matter where you go in Lincoln that weekend or Logan County, it should be pretty hyped up and a lot of excitement. So,
and if you don't find something to eat, it's your own fault.
Yes, absolutely.
So main stage happening downtown Lincoln at the corner of Pulaski and Kickapoo Streets. Music by Big Suns from 7 to 11 p.m. There will be alcohol vending from Spirited Republic, Alibi, and the Rusty Rail Pub happening Friday evening. That takes us into Saturday. You mentioned already the early morning flight happening about 6:15 or 6:30, once again from the 4 different launch sites. And then we're into a day full of activities, starting with the Lincoln Masonic Lodge drive-up or eat-in biscuits and gravy breakfast. That's from 7 to 10 a.m. Out at the Masonic Lodge on North Kickapoo Street. The craft and vendor fairs you mentioned at the Oasis from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All sorts of activities and vendors, and we had Krista here last week.
Sure.
Krista Miller talking, and they've got, I believe, a donation of sweet corn that they're going to have available, and some other goodies. So be sure to check that out. Corn and brats feed happening at the Oasis from 11 to 3. A free fish fry and activities from Faith Church. That happens from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Has been happening throughout the summer, the ALMH Farmers Market, or I guess the LMH Farmers Market at the Logan County Fairgrounds from 8 a.m. to noon. The Art Fair, once again, taking place from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the Balloons Over 66 5K run, sponsored by the Park District or hosted by the Park District, starting at 8 a.m. Gosh, there's just so much to go through here. I mean, I could read this and take up the rest of the time.
There's a
try and
lot.
hit some highlights. And if people are seeking information about what happens where or what time things are happening, where are some places they can find that information?
On Facebook, there's Balloons Over 66 Weekend. And then there's also the Logan County Tourism Bureau website. There is a full list of everything on there. So, or also feel free to stop in the Tourism Bureau downtown or call the Tourism Bureau. But we've got flyers, brochures, everything you name it. We're happy to get anyone any information they want, because we definitely want to make sure everyone gets to enjoy all that the weekend has to offer.
And the Tourism Bureau website is destinationlogancountyil.com. You can also go to the WLCNonline.com website, to the community calendar section. They've got a banner ad at the top of our calendar, so you click there. It goes right to the page of event information for the Balloons Over 66. We haven't talked much about it, but the Up and Smoke backyard barbecue competition is happening downtown as well.
Yes. I know that's also a favorite. So that's definitely changed over the years. I know there used to be a lot that was available to the public. I think more is just kind of now a direct competition. But I know, Kevin Bateman over the course of our previous meetings has really mentioned that they were, having quite a few people coming here and then judging and all that stuff. And not a huge barbecue guy. I like the smell of it. But so I don't really know a lot of the logistics, but I know they've worked really hard on bringing that back as well. And really getting the right folks involved with it to continue to grow that as well.
Right,
so
because it kind of like the Balloon Festival has gone through sort of different evolutions, where it was a sanctioned competition, and now it's the backyard barbecue. So
right, a little bit more laid back, I think, but they still have a lot of fun with it. So
sure, absolutely, and as you mentioned, the smell itself is worth the trip, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
So the backyard barbecue competition happening throughout the day downtown. The awards ceremony for that happening at 4 p.m. on Saturday. The library is back with its Buck-A-Bag book sale happening as well Saturday, and a downtown classic car show at 5 p.m. taking place with 50-50 raffle and door prizes, as well as a small entry fee for the cars. And then that takes us to 6 p.m. Saturday, more balloon launches.
Yes, some more balloon launches and then a glow.
And then will it be, with the different launches and the different balloons, will the same balloons launch from the same place all of the launches?
Yeah, so the idea is that wherever they're scheduled to launch from starting Friday, they'll stay there all weekend. However, depending on which way the wind is blowing and all of our windmills that we have in the area now, we may shift some pilots, but the end goal is for the glow is that they will be there no matter what at their designated launch spot. So we're just really hoping for good weather at this point for the whole weekend, not just the balloons, but for everything.
Absolutely. And so if you have a particular favorite balloon, if you
Yes.
see it at Mayfair Park on Friday night,
Right.
you know it'll be back there Saturday
Yep,
as well.
that's the whole plan.
it's-
Yep, yeah, unless they want to shift. And I mean, we'll try to announce on social media and things like that if there's going to be any type of changes. But like I said, ultimately it all comes down to the weather. And if it's like today, we'll be good. But
Yeah.
if not, you just never know. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So 22 minutes past 4 o'clock. This is the 4 p.m. 411. 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions or comments or suggestions or just maybe an experience you've had in the past at the Balloon Festival or the Art Festival you'd like to share with us. We will be here until 4:30. Our guest is Seth Goodman with the Balloons Over 66. Let me shift gears a little bit here. Why is this important to you personally? We talked about
Right.
the economic impact to Lincoln and
Right.
Logan County and so forth, but
Right.
it's not for the faint of heart to step
Sure.
up and try and organize something like this. What sort
Yeah.
of drives you to put this together?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of passionate about the community, obviously, and have been being born and raised. But for me, I know how exciting it is to travel throughout the summer to these other events, and we want to bring that excitement to our area as well. Like I said, bringing this, not just the balloons, but also everything. But, when I look at it from the balloon perspective, I wanted to bring that back because as a pilot, there's no better place to fly than your home. And you want to make sure that everyone else can enjoy that same thing. And just this year, I think it goes to really say a lot that we've had 37 pilots step up that said, I want to come to your event. Most of the events that I go through throughout the summer are anywhere from 15 to 25 balloons.
Oh,
And a
wow.
lot of times they're having to chase those pilots to come. So people really like Lincoln. They've loved coming here over the decades, and I just didn't want to see that go away completely. And so this is our attempt to continue to keep it here.
Okay,
So.
very good. We're going to go ahead and take our second break. You've got a few minutes left if you want to call in with a question or comment, 217-648-5510. We will be back after the break with Seth Goodman and more about Balloons Over 60. And we are back for a few minutes. The 4 p.m. 411. I'm Loyd Kirby, Marketing Manager at WLCN. Our guest today has been Seth Goodman, talking about the Balloons Over 66 event festival happening August 26th, 27th, and 28th. We were talking off the air that it takes many, many people to make this happen. You've sort of been the face of things, I
Sure.
guess, at least from the balloon side.
Right.
But like we mentioned, there's a lot of people that make things happen. How
Right.
or there's
Right.
some folks you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just really everyone. I mean, in terms of like the bringing back the event itself, like I said, I've kind of taken over the balloon side. My parents have helped significantly with that as well. But also beyond that, like Michelle Bauer and Kevin Bateman and the Tourism Bureau and Oasis and all these people that really deserve pat on the back for helping bring this back, because without them it wouldn't be possible. But also the sponsorships we've received. I know on the balloon side, the City of Lincoln this year has stepped up to really help all of us bring this event back with some funding. Eaton Corporation has been huge as well. Grau Chevrolet, just a lot of different people that have volunteered to step up to the plate to make this possible for everyone in the community. So that's another reason why it's so important to bring it back, is to just really, like I said, not just to showcase that we can have a great event, but to showcase how it's possible through generous donations and sponsorships from the people in this community that make the day-to-day happen.
So and we were talking off air that there's no shortage of if you need something done or crews for the balloons.
Right.
Logan County people seem to always step up to the plate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're very fortunate here for that. So
217-648-5510, the number to call. We've got just a couple minutes left with Seth Goodman. We mentioned most of the itinerary for Saturday. Once again, the live music will be back on Saturday evening with a couple different bands that I saw, which of course I can't find in my papers here now. And then Sunday, the Shady Car Show is happening. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so the car show, and actually that's one thing I haven't been too super involved with, but I think that it is out at the park by Chautauqua or out in the Elks area. But I could be wrong on that. So, but they are kind of working on that separately and trying to get as many cars as possible for that as well.
Sure.
So
hold on just one second. I'll put you on the air.
So they've been working on that.
All right, we've got a caller here, so okay, I'll just ask him for you then, if that's okay. All right. Caller didn't want to go on the air particularly, but was interested. I don't know if you were aware, at the county fair, the night of the 38 special concert, there was a shuttle service that ran from Walmart to the county fair, so that people didn't have to worry about parking, didn't have to worry about what they might partake in at the fair and then have to drive afterwards. Is there anything like that, or has there been anything like that considered for the balloon fair?
So not this year. I mean, it's something that we have talked about and may do depending on how it continues to grow and space out and so forth. But this year, if we kept it at the park district, that was one thing we were going to do. But since we've decided to keep the launch spots and the glow spots separate, we thought it might be kind of hard to do that. So there will not be this year, but I mean, in future years, we'll definitely continue to explore that option and see if we can bring that back in some capacity to help kind of get people around.
Sure. Yeah, and I remember when it was at the
airport.
They had the golf carts, which would take people to their park vehicles.
Right. And we tried to space it out because if you remember going to the airport, you would be waiting for an hour to 2 hours to get in. And so this way we found in the past years has really worked well, because people can either go right up to the balloons and not be totally crowded because you've got other areas where people are separated, or they could watch from a distance, so either way you weren't locked in, I guess, if that makes sense. And obviously the best thing for this weekend, a lot of it's free, so can't beat that. So
free is good.
Absolutely.
So, we mentioned, like I said, the events happening Saturday, the classic car show. There will be more music downtown. The Dock Dogs will be back downtown, as well as the evening balloon launch and evening balloon glow on Saturday. Music on the main stage begins actually at 3 p.m. 3 to 6 is Thornhill Duo, and then from 8 p.m. until 11, Stereotypical. And then on Sunday, the final event, I guess, is the Shady Car Show, which you talked about when I was on the phone. So, I guess I would encourage, and you mentioned this as well, if people have questions about what's going on or where things are happening, definitely hop on the website, because I hopped on the destination. Of course, I draw a blank on it now. DestinationLoganCountyIL.com, the Tourism Bureau website, and there is a list of everything, when it's happening, where it's happening. There's also a list, we talked about all the food. There's a list of the local eateries that are in downtown Lincoln, as well as their hours on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Also a list of the food trucks that will be here, and it looks like there's about 8 of those that are on this list. And
Yes.
I'm sure that's ever changing.
Yes,
so.
it continues to change and get added to. So
Yeah, so our guest has been Seth Goodman. Once again, if people have questions or want to find information, we mentioned DestinationLoganCountyIL.com, the Tourism Bureau website. There's a Facebook page for the event. There's also a Facebook event page,
right, yes,
which is a little bit different.
And very responsive on there. Tourism Bureau really answers quickly, and anyone else that can. So if you have questions, feel free to message that group as well.
Okay. What about one question I wanted
Sure.
to ask you? The day of the event, if there
Right.
is inclement weather or iffy weather where maybe are they going to launch, aren't they going to launch,
Right.
how will the public find out about that?
Yeah, so the only real way that we can get that out quickly is going to be from the event page on Facebook, more than likely. So, and I know not everyone's on there, so I mean, we will try and obviously spread the word as much as possible, but it will always be pilot discretion. So if ultimately if the pilots are comfortable flying, they are welcome to. Like I said, there is no waiver, so we just encourage them to be safe, but also act within their comfort level. So again, it may be a very last minute decision. So what we encourage is if you want to see it, we will always try to send the pilots to their launch spots, and then you'll be able to gather what they plan to do from there.
Okay. All right. So our guest has been Seth Goodman with Balloons Over 66. Thank you for making it out.
Thanks for having me.
Hope the train didn't throw your schedule off too
Made
bad.
it just in time.
Yeah, exactly. So be sure and join us next week. Andrea Runge will be here from Lincoln Economic Advancement and Development Incorporated, the lead organization. She'll be talking about an event that group will be sponsoring. And then on August 30th, Annie Coors will be here from the First National Bank of Tremont, opening the Lincoln branch out on Woodlawn Road. So that is the 4 p.m. 411 for this week, and we will talk to you next week. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.